The San Francisco 49ers shut out the New Orleans Saints yesterday. They extended their winning streak to 4. They finish an undefeated November. Was it a trap game, Jason? I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, on a new episode of the Sprint Ride Option Podcast.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option Podcast. The answer is no, it was not a trap game. Hey, I'm Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by the beautiful Jason Aponte. It is a new episode of the Sprint Ride Option Podcast, a podcast that combined as many points as the New Orleans Saints did yesterday in Santa Clara, California. Jason, how you doing on this lovely Monday night? It's Monday night now. Monday Night Football started, so it's Monday night.
Sweet vindication for Jameis Winston, because I couldn't imagine that he would have actually been shut out. And it's pretty funny. The last 4 times that the New Orleans Saints have been shut out have been at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers.
It's been since 2002, and the Niners did it yesterday. 20 years since the Saints were last shut out. And that's a coincidental stat. That's not, I don't think that's a sentence. But it's a very interesting stat, to say the least, that the Saints' last 4 shutouts have been at the hands of the 49ers.
Go easy about how you're saying interesting stats. There's a lot of funny ways that people are using that at this point. So
hey man, you take stats, you do what you want with them, and people disagree. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
There's a stat to push whatever narrative you want to push. I think is the lesson that should be learned.
Yeah, and that's okay. But yeah, we love using our stats to push narratives here at the Sprint Ride Option Podcast. Jason, a lot to talk about from yesterday. We started at the top, 13-0. Niners really dominated a game where they scored 3 times. But we usually start with the offense, but I don't think that's fitting. I don't think that's fair, because one unit, and it's obvious, we've said the final score, Jason, 13-0. One unit deserves to be started with. And that's the defense. The defense, I mean, what streak do you want to start talking about? The 4 consecutive games without a point in the second half? Do we want to talk about now how they've gone 6 consecutive quarters without allowing in a point? A shutout, which as we mentioned, the Saints haven't done in a long time. There's a lot of places to start with the defense, Jason. So I don't know. I don't even want to go positionally like we usually do, because I felt like a lot of layers to the Niners defense yesterday, where if we just kind of stay like, oh, let's talk about the defensive line, we're going to leak into the linebacker. So kind of disorganized Sprint Red Option Podcast. Let's start with the defense and where you want to go. I like this one, Harish. Niners are 7-0 and outscoring their opponent this season. We love that stat, getting that out of the way early. I saw people throwing that out on Twitter yesterday.
I like that.
Oh, did our dumb thing we do every week start an argument on Twitter.com? No way. And then I saw it didn't. It was just somebody having fun with it, and that's what it's meant to be.
Well, first of all, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live, and subscribe to the Sprint Ride Option Podcast wherever you get your audio podcast. But if we're talking about defense, I think it begins and ends with him. H-I-M, him. That's DeMeco Ryans.
Yes.
DeMeco, this is going to be my love letter to you, right? Okay. In the most humblest of ways. Thank you. I'm going to miss you. Yeah. It was a November to remember. Not 1 point given up in the second half, the entire November. The energy that you bring to this team, the scheme that you run, the passion that you have on the sideline is going to be sorely missed. And I think it's going to get to a point where, I don't know, whoever is the next defensive coordinator, because you surely are going to be a head coach next year for the Houston Texans, a bevy of teams will be on your head for a service. I don't know if it's an upgrade. And I if it's Lord Fangio, Rich, please don't kill me. If it's Lord Vic, I'd love that. But Rich, close your ears. I don't know if it's gonna be an upgrade. I don't know, man. I get nervous about it. Like, realistically, look, enough with the bit, but DeMeco Ryans, what you're doing right now and what you've been doing with a roster at times, a defense at times that has been injured against all odds. I mean, a lot of people are going to point to early on in this game where they stopped them, but it felt like the Saints had the ball in the red zone for the entire fourth quarter. And I get it. It's 4-down territory. Not normally how you would operate. You know, if the Saints wanted to be jerks, they could have ended the streak very easily by taking a Will Lutz field goal, from really close, right? But they're trying to win the game, right? But to have the turnovers in the red zone, to be able to keep them out of the red zone and keep them out of the end zone, I just, the one thing that you notice about this defense that jumps out at you is, while other defenses have been stout, 2019, 2012, I don't know if they've taken the ball away in impact moments in the way that the 49ers have this season. Talanoa Hufanga gets a pick six when it's a one-score game against the Rams, knocks his head on a football, and the ball's out and in the red zone. Timely plays. It's not always about how many points you give up, but can you turn the ball over? And I think that's something we're seeing with this defense that we've never seen with the 49ers defense. So, DeMeco Ryans, enjoy yourself. I hope you have fun next year. But I just want to say thank you for everything.
I really don't know how to follow up. It was beautiful.
What?
It was well written. It was Oscar worthy. Honestly, I love that so much. I really don't know how to follow it up. I'm just going to follow it up with stats, Jason, because you mentioned it felt like the Saints were in the red zone the entire fourth quarter. The Saints had 3 drives in the second half, just only 3. And they ended at the 49ers 30. They got as close to the Niners end zone as the 23 that drive. Ends at technically the 6 because that's where the play started. Also technically the 1-yard line because that's where the fumble happened. And then they had a final drive end at the 4-yard line. And that's really where it came from is Jason. They were pretty much literally in Niner territory the entire second half. And it ultimately didn't matter. And that's the amazing thing about it is because you mentioned the Hufanga play, right? The forced fumble at the goal line, which Dre Greenlaw deserves a ton of credit on that play too, holding up Alvin Kamara in order to allow Hufanga to get the hit in. The 4th down hold at the end of the game to put the game away. And like we talk about in a shutout, it's a shutout. The Niners win 13-0. But the defense needed to do this yesterday because 2 drives go wrong in the Niners. We're talking about a Niners loss. Because, the offense put up 13 points, which we will talk about. I don't think the sky is falling yet with the offense, as some people like to try and make it out to be. It's one game, whatever. But the defense literally needed this performance. And I even tweeted, I felt it, not to brag, Jason, but I tweeted at halftime about Garoppolo's stats at half because he threw the ball 973 times in the first half yesterday, which has to be a Garoppolo record. And I added a little
973 is the official stat. That's
the 973. Yep, exactly at halftime. And the Niners were up 10-0, and I threw a little PS. I think 3 points might be enough to win this game. And it ended up being enough to win this game. And I just, the defense is amazing. And it's not like it's one player that's creating these big plays. It gets spread out. 1 week it's Mooney Ward. Another week it's Greenlaw. Another week it's yesterday we had, just off the top of my head, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, and Nick Bosa make big plays. And that's just the big plays off the top of my head. That doesn't count. I mean, you want a Gibson tackling Olave to force an incomplete pass that was ruled a catch, but Harbaugh. I'm sorry, I'm very excited for Jim Harbaugh, not Niners coach anymore. Kyle Shanahan threw a challenge flag that a lot of people were like, "What is he challenging?" Ends up, he knew the rule that you have to get 900 steps in. And
ends up nobody knows the rule.
Nobody. Well, I think Kyle just grumpily threw a flag because they were talking on the broadcast. I haven't seen the all 22 on it because these are the things I watch for all 22, how far Kyle Shanahan can throw a challenge flag. But apparently he threw the challenge flag very far into the field. I mean, I don't know.
QB1.
Maybe QB. Don't know. Let's not start that. If Shanahan was hurt, would you activate him in order to get him on the playoff roster?
I would play Kyle Shanahan. I would play Kyle Shanahan over Purdy. I would say get off your ass, coach, and do it yourself since you see everything so well. Get off your ass and do it yourself, coach, over Brock Purdy.
But I know it seems like I'm just kind of stumbling over words here talking about the defense, Jason, because it's legitimately like, what else can we say? Like, what else? Right. What have we not said about this defense? And maybe there's the case to be made that, you know, they made the big plays when they needed it, because I mean, I don't want to like over important size. That's not even close to a word. Overemphasize. There we go. Jason Aponte knows words here on the Sprint Red Option podcast. A first drive fumble, but you never know what's going to happen on an opening drive. Those are scripted plays. Maybe that's the drive the Saints. The Niners have struggled on opening drives. You know, that's where teams tend to score against them. Fred Warner knocks the ball out. Niners only get 3, which proves to be a very important 3 at the end of the game. I mentioned the Gibson Olave play. That was weird. But then at the end with Talanoa Hufanga, a player that we have many times admitted we were wrong on, coming up with the big punch out, Dre Greenlaw getting dragged a little bit. Like it's one of those plays where if Kamara drags Greenlaw all the way to the end zone and scores the touchdown, it's one of those plays like, oh, what a great play by Kamara. But because Hufanga comes up and knocks the ball out, it's like, oh, Greenlaw held him up long enough to force the fumble. And even two, it needed to take 6 or 7 good bounces for the 49ers to even fall. That was almost a Saints touchdown. That should have been a Saints touchdown. And then the Nick Bosa.
My fantasy team would have liked that.
I know fantasy team would have liked it, but hey, Niners won.
As 2 podcast hosts who cover the San Francisco 49ers, but also roster Alvin Kamara.
Oh, I have the Niners defense. It worked.
So you offset all that. Right?
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm fine. The one league that I'm in with a money league where it's Alvin Kamara, I have been sitting pretty. I've been winning games because I picked up Christian Watson. I've been playing Olave. I benched Olave this week, which was a good call here. Knew that was coming. But yeah, to your point, pretty much.
Yeah. I actually won 123 to 120, so I needed every little bit of the Niners defense I got yesterday. It ended up working out though. We win. Fantasy football, man. I'm a genius. I'm smart. I don't ask Jason Aponte every question, every decision my fantasy team makes.
He asked me during the draft though.
Definitely during the draft. That's when I needed you the most, is during the draft. Gotta act like I'm smart to my friends. I have a football podcast. I gotta look like I'm smart at least. I just text Jason. And then the Nick Bosa sack, which I said on my Niners Nation article may have been an early jump, but watching it over and over again, I think just a perfect jump. And for that to be I believe that's his first sack. That was the Niners' first sack of the game. First sack of the game. Like the Niners didn't really have their defensive line yesterday in terms of what production we're used to, multiple sacks, getting it done. And I thought the Saints did a good job counteracting that. They had a lot of quick plays, a lot of quick passes. But for Bosa to get the sack at the exact moment they needed it, because once again, this was a 13-0 game when Bosa sacked him. It might have felt like the game was over, but if they score a touchdown on that 4th down, there's 6 minutes left. The score's 13-7, and it's a totally different game. So really, Jason, I'll let you talk now about the defense. I've just kind of rambled on. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have point A and B and C and D to get to, where I'm just kind of saying the defense is good. So let's hear what you got.
This is almost evergreen stuff. Nick Bosa is really good at football. Mm-hmm. And he is the first player since 2000 to record a sack in at least 9 of his 10 games. Okay? Nick Bosa is really good. This is Fred Warner's stat line. 5 tackles, 2 assists, 7 combined tackles, quarterback hit, 2 pass defense, forced fumble. I don't know. Like, that is the equivalent of a basketball player who has 10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 3 steals. Like, it's literally stuffing the stat sheet, and it doesn't even begin to tell you where Fred Warner is. Let me just talk about the 49ers defense as a whole.
Yeah.
And I tweeted this out earlier. The 49ers allow 283.9 yards per game. That is 58.1 yards behind the NFL average. Okay.
That's pretty good.
They allow 81.1 rushing yards per game. That is almost 40 yards off of the NFL average. They have 9.55% sack per pass attempt. That is 2.31% better than the rest of the league. One more thing. The leading rusher for the New Orleans Saints yesterday was one Mr. Andrew Dalton.
Oh my God!
Earth?
I didn't even.
How
oh
on
my
earth?
God! He did. Wow.
How on earth?
Oh my God! Andrew Dalton.
How on earth?
Wow.
That Alvin Kamara had 2 lost fumbles in the 4 years that he's been playing professional football. He lost 2 fumbles in the same game against the San Francisco 49ers. You can say whatever you want about opponents, about weapons. If they did that against high school teams, that's still hard to do. It's almost impossible to continue to hurl superlatives, praise on his defense. It's so insane what they're doing right now. And this next week is going to be really fun because now we get to put it up against a potent offense. We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll end the show. We'll end the show with that, Andrew. We'll end the show with that. We'll end the show with that.
Rivalry week here in the NFL.
But
AFC
as far
East,
as
NFC West.
But as far as the defense goes, and by the way, Andrew's going to that game. So if you see Andrew out there, make sure you go say what's up to him.
I will not be wearing this hat, I promise.
I also heard there's Tim Sprinkles, Brian Renick will be out there as well.
Oh, they're out there as well.
You better make sure you but
no.
The defense it's so good that we are running out of ways to describe it. We are running out of ways to enjoy it. That's why I started this with DeMeco Ryans. I think it starts with him. It doesn't end with him, but my goodness, man. You're watching something special. Mm-hmm. And my take, which I gave on 95.7 The Game when was asked about 2012, 2019, 2022, age is better as the days go on because those guys didn't turn the ball over. Those guys didn't allow this amount of points. This is the best 49ers defense for the younger generation that you could probably say you've ever seen.
Oh yeah. Like this has to be. I mean, the defenses that I compare them to are the Harbaugh defenses and the solid defenses of old. And this one, Jason, we probably were a little early, not to once again brag about how right we are all the time, never wrong on this podcast. We would never admit it if we were wrong either.
Big wrong on Hufanga. Big
wrong on Hufanga. Other than Talanoa Hufanga, we were very wrong. Huge wrong. We were kind of early on the thought of like, hey, is DeMeco Ryans a better defensive coordinator than Robert Salah, at least for the 49ers? And we started that conversation a little bit last year, and I thought maybe we were a little premature on it. I think we could officially say that DeMeco Ryans has taken what Robert Salah has built and evolved it to something even better. I mean, even the small things with the amount of pressure sent, because you remember Robert Salah never really blitzed. He would only rush 4 more often than not. You mentioned the quarterback hit from Fred Warner yesterday. On 39 pass plays, how many times do you think Fred Warner was called the blitz? Per PFF.
Per PFF? I'm not sure.
1. It feels like, and it just continues to show that, like, it feels like every time Fred Warner. I'm cold. I need to be warmer.
Well, he's warmer.
He's also getting warmer too. Fred Warner, anytime he's called the blitz, it more often than not hits. More often than not, he's creating a pressure. He's hitting a quarterback. He gets a sack. Fred Warner, like, I want to talk about all the defensive players that had a great game, and I feel bad that I got this late to talk about Fred Warner. But yeah, man, he absolutely stuffed the stat sheet. He was very good in pass coverage. He got the quarterback hit. He's a consistent tackler. It's getting to a point where I really feel like, because Pro Bowl votes don't matter. Pro Bowl votes are pointless. But the fact that Fred Warner is the 9th highest vote getter for linebacker, I believe is what I saw.
Inside linebackers.
Inside linebacker, like, that's even worse. Inside linebackers as well, like 9th. Like, what are we watching here? Like, Fred Warner needs to be 1, 2, 3 somewhere in there. I get it's a popularity contest, but Andrew, like it's It's disrespectful at this point because Fred Warner probably should be an All-Pro every season, a perpetual All-Pro. That's the type of talent we're talking about here, and I feel like he's not viewed that way, and he should be.
Andrew, I don't worry about Pro Bowl stuff because it's for casual
I don't
fans.
either.
No,
it's something I could yell about on my podcast.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's for casual fans.
Yes.
The 49ers are going to be playing in the Pro Bowl, though.
No, they're not.
Oh, okay. Don't care about Pro Bowl nods when your team plays in the game the week after.
Yes.
So now let's get spicy. 20 minutes in, and all we did was talk about the defense. Unbelievable, man.
Unbelievable.
This is exactly the type of praise that they deserve.
Yes.
And this is what should have you super excited.
Honestly, if this whole episode just ignored the offense and we just kind of mumbled on about how good the defense is, I think that would be very fair. Nothing against the offense, man. It's just that's how good the defense is because
shit, man. Who cares about the offense, man?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who cares about the offense? The offense did enough. They got the job. And honestly, like, I guess if we're transitioning from the defense to the offense here, I guess this is my transition point is this might be one of the most impressive wins of the season for the 49ers because it wasn't, yes, it's not a blowout. I understand they didn't win 38-10 like I predicted. Keith, thank you. We can talk defense all night. They ball it. Absolutely. Like that's kind of my point is we could do this. Axel, thank you. Only word that matters. MVP too bad. It's an unfair trade-off. The Niners won that game, which eliminated Garoppolo from winning MVP.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
The 49ers don't have a chance at a top 1 seed, right? Because there's only one bye week right now?
Yes, there's only one bye week.
Okay. Do you sacrifice the number 1 seed to get the Nickelodeon?
Oh my God. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Why would you not want the Nickelodeon game?
Wait, hold on.
Why would you not want the Nickelodeon?
Was Dallas Niners last year on Nickelodeon?
That was the Nickelodeon. And people, what's funny is I told people like, hey man, I'm watching the Nickelodeon broadcast. I'm going to watch it. Like it's my favorite broadcast. How can you not watch the Niners on Nickelodeon? And then when I came on the podcast the next day, I'm like, yeah, so I missed everything Romo and Nance said. Can you fill me in? And people are like, wait, you actually watched it on the Nickelodeon broadcast? I'm like, yes, that was the plan. I told you.
This is why I love Andrew Pasquini.
Football's fun, man. We have fun with football here on the Spirit Right Option podcast.
I mean, look at that hat. That's the victory hat. That's what's gonna make it fun.
It's the victory hat. It is the victory hat. It's taken on. I was a coward and didn't wear it on the Niner podcast last week. I was a little sad. I should have done it, but I didn't. Yeah. They weren't ready for that much fun yet. Transitioning to offense to defense or defense to offense here. I think this is the most impressive win of the season because yes, it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't, but that's what makes it impressive is one part of the team did not work.
Yes.
And the Niners won. And that's the important thing. Like, yes, I understand people want to complain about the 13-point output with all the weapons they have, Jason. I get it. But Kyle Shanahan spent a lot of the week, I'm sure you heard on the broadcast, praising this Saints defense, how good they were. And they showed it. I thought they did a good job with Garoppolo. And by good job, I mean took away the middle of the field, forced him to throw it outside. I also thought Garoppolo was – I put pressure on him. I thought Garoppolo was fine. With all of that happening as well. Yes, it wasn't statistically his best game. But he had a lot of pressure. A lot of things were going against his way. And he took a beating yesterday. And he still played fine. So, yeah, like I understand the Niners have had bigger blowouts. The Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks. More impressive wins. But for me – this has to be the most impressive win because you don't have the offense yet. The Niners won. Spoiler, guys, you're gonna have to win the games like this in the playoffs because every defense you're going to be facing is good, and you got to control the offense on the other side, and that's what the Niners defense did. The Niners won a playoff game last season against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers by scoring 13. Was it 13? 13 points. So. Ended up being enough. So yeah, like they're gonna have to win these types of games. Like as I said, I kind of understand where where's the offense side coming from, but it was enough, and that's to me is what matters.
One of the best questions that I was asked yesterday on Twitter was, how many points do the 49ers need to win games? And I didn't want this response to come off snarky, angry, because I'm trying to be better on Twitter. Trust me. The answer I gave was more than the opponent.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't get style points. This isn't college football. And I think Andrew nailed it when you talk about this. Things in this league are not going to go the way that you normally expect. You need to give credit to the New Orleans Saints because they played a great game. They got Marcus Davenport back. They got Cameron Jordan back. They executed their game plan. They put pressure and made this offensive line for the first time in a while look like they were a bit overmatched.
Mm-hmm.
Credit James Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get lost in the fact that the man takes a hit, gets up, keeps going.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone saw him get hit in the face.
Beat up yesterday.
Over and over and over. And what is it about the goddamn New Orleans Saints?
Something about him, man.
Right. Like, it's always you.
Something
it's always you.
them.
Greg Williams isn't here anymore. And it's always you.
Yeah.
What is it about the Saints and hurting players and hitting them and hitting him in the leg? Say whatever you want. I'm not trying to change your decisions about Jimmy Garoppolo, your whatever it is. The man's tough. And I think he proved that last year when he went out there with the bum shoulder and the thumb and he beat the Los Angeles Rams to put the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I mean, in the Super Bowl.
Playoffs.
In the playoffs.
That's
And then outplayed Aaron Rodgers in the fourth quarter of the Green Bay game to set up a game-winning drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Garoppolo, that largely falls by the wayside. That narrative's got to go away about him being soft. Yeah. That narrative has to go away.
No more ouchie ankle tweets.
No more. Oh,
I knew that one would get you.
Yeah, that's.
I knew that one would pop you there.
That's a good one. But in terms of how this league goes, I think Andrew's right. This is part of, and maybe I disagree that this is the most impressive win. But I do agree that this is a win that you can point to and look at that this team is a good team. And what I mean by that is bad teams would have found a way to lose this game. Good teams find a way to win these games. And we, as 49er fans, have watched, right before Jim Harbaugh got there, we watched many 49ers teams be this close to winning a game and then losing it and finding a way to lose it. This is a good team. Yeah. I'm sorry. They're just a good team, and that's it. I don't care who the opponent is. To be able to blank a team completely, sure, they missed a field goal. Sure, 4 down territory, they would have probably kicked the field goal if things were different. Like if it was 3-0, the Saints would have taken their field goal. And, again, circumstances change. That's it. That's different. But for me, I'm impressed by this because this team is showing you that they're going to win in different ways. Everything doesn't have to be blowouts. But there's a good question up here real quick from Gavin. Shout out to the Mod Squad. Question 1. Andrew, who are the best players on the 49ers? He wants us to answer each separately. So you go first.
Oh, best skill players. I mean, the best players.
I think we're going to agree.
If we're going 3, I would say the best 3 players on the Niners are Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and then there's like 4 names about Trent Williams. Trent Williams got to be in there.
Trent Williams is 1.
Yeah. That's the 3. That's my 3, no order. Trent Williams. I forgot Trent Williams. Trent Williams is 3. So it's Trent Williams, Fred Warner, Fred Warmer, or Nick Bosa. Those are your 3. No order. No particular order. I don't need to order them.
I like that, and I'm going to stick with that.
Okay.
I think that's the order. But it's definitely Trent Williams is the most talented football player overall on this team to do what he does over and over. Question 2 is, who are the most important players on the 49ers? This changes a little bit.
In terms of 2022,
I think it's still Trent Williams. I'm gonna jump in front of you, like right there, and say that
Williams. It's very important
Williams.
to anchor that line. I think we're gonna be very different in our next 2 names, though.
Go for it.
Give me your first name.
One of my names, Brandon Ayuk.
Okay, I got Talanoa Hufanga.
Good.
Yeah, it really feels like he's the piece that shored up the secondary with Mooney Ward, obviously.
I like that.
Who's your third name? Because I think this is where we're really going to break off.
My third name?
Is it James?
It's not.
Mine is James. Yeah, mine is James because
it's gotta be Jimmy Garoppolo, because if there was another quarterback that was here instead of him, look, if it was Trey, then fine, but it's not Brock Purdy. I don't want to see him.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like in terms of backup or if we keep in the context that Jimmy Garoppolo is the backup quarterback entering this season, if he was the starter, he probably isn't on this important list, and we probably put Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, whoever it may be. But for him to be specifically the backup quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, in a season where Trey Lance was supposed to take over, and if Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't here, obviously it would be a Nate Sudfeld or Brock Purdy conversation, which is something we have fun with here on the Spirit Red Option podcast. Hi, Jim Everett. How you doing?
Hey, Jim. Hope the Rams season's been going well. Oh, wait. Aaron Donald's injured too. Oh, wait. Your season's done. I love that you're still here, though. And
we love you. Yeah.
What I want to say, Jim Everett, is you're in. Now you are a part of the community. Yes. It's you. It's Don Burr. It's Marketing Pro. It's that crazy ass Bears fan that like completely bombarded all our shows. You're in now. If you wanted to be in and you wanted to join a winning culture on YouTube, you've got it. Because you can't go to Jake Ellenbooger or whatever the guy's name is or whatever and watch his stuff or whatever at this point. So I just want you to know, Jim, I love the hate, but what I love more is that the Rams stink and the season's over. But you get to stay with us and you get to follow us now. So if the 49ers somehow fall short, you get to sit here and,
enjoy this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, look, you got some sort of joy. Keep going, Andrew. I'm sorry.
I guess in the context, as I said, in backup quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, I think he's got to be thrown in there for most important. That's really what it is. Like if he was the starter all season, Trey Lance doesn't exist. Like then we're talking totally different. In my mind, I just want to shout out all the nerds out there. I said this on Twitter yesterday. The second Jimmy Garoppolo threw that touchdown pass, I was like, I know what tweet I'm going to see from Twitter.com of, oh well, that should have been intercepted. No, it probably shouldn't have. I think it was more of a better play by Tyrann Mathieu to get a hand on that ball. I think if that ball 2 inches deeper, it's a perfect pass, right? It's just Mathieu made a very good play on the ball, tipped it up. And then obviously, like, we can't have the Garoppolo conversation without the pick six. That was fun.
No, it wasn't a pick six. They stopped him.
That was a good prank. Oh, it wasn't a pick six. Okay, sorry. They ran it to the 2, whatever it may have been. That was a good prank, Jimmy. I know you saw Chris Harris commit the illegal contact and you wanted to have fun. Don't do that again, because that would have been, I would have had to bring back the oh no throw. Like that was the most oh no throw I've ever seen to end the streak.
Andrew.
And then it didn't. It was scary. You can tell I'm still very triggered by it.
Andrew.
Yes.
Our good friend Rich Madrid.
Yes.
Would tell you, and I, and everyone, watch the goddamn tape, man. All right. So he posted the clip.
Okay.
Ray McLeod gets bumped off his route, and this offense is predicated on timing,
and
all those things.
Where you should be.
And he wasn't there. Yes. And credit the defender. Okay. Here's the funny thing about this is the way I'm gonna spin this whole thing. Stats are used to push narratives. There's a stat out there for anybody who wants to say anything. So here's my stat, because it's so stupid that I've seen it out there and I'm going to steal it. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't thrown an interception in 5 weeks. They've only played 4 games, but it's been 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
It's been 5 weeks. But there's someone out there that continues to put out there that there's 5 weeks of there wasn't a game.
I think it would be more impressive if we couldn't say he threw an interception in the last 5 weeks.
And look,
but the lone interception came on the bye week. I think that'd be more impressive.
I mean, that would be something that you really need to celebrate. And
I know. If Jimmy Garoppolo's out here throwing picks on bye weeks.
If Garoppolo threw a pick on the bye week, that's actually more impressive than not throwing a pick through 4 straight games.
Yeah, exactly.
Andrew, my thing is this. I implore people who talk about almost interceptions to please watch someone else. Watch someone else. Watch another team. Dude, the guy that is going to face Jimmy Garoppolo next week, Tua, I watched him on Monday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers literally throw 4 footballs into the chest of Pittsburgh Steelers defenders, and they dropped them all. Mm-hmm. Why is it that it only applies when it's an almost interception to Jimmy Garoppolo? Almost like you guys are not watching anyone else. Anyone else. Josh Allen almost has interceptions. Patrick Mahomes in his MVP year. Someone put together a highlight reel. There were 13 dropped interceptions for Patrick Mahomes. But I understand Mahomes is really good. Like, I'm not trying to tell you that I'm trying to tell you that almost interceptions happen to everyone. So, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, look, you want to talk about narratives, streaks, Andrew?
Yeah.
4 straight weeks. 4 straight wins for the 49ers, 4 straight weeks of no interceptions. That's not a coincidence. The 49ers are 11-0, I believe, when Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't throw an interception. If that's the stat that I could think
7-0 this season without an interception, 0-3 when he does throw one. And my thing to the dropped interception crowd is like they say, oh, well, they don't track dropped interceptions. Well, they do. They're called incomplete passes. It's in the attempts category. And every so often, dropped interceptions may or may not end up being touchdowns like Juwan Jennings. Because I mean, I guess I don't know if you want to call that a dropped interception by Matthew because he got one hand on it. But yeah, obviously, listen, man, some of it does come down to luck. I will admit that. I will absolutely admit that. But to say that no other quarterback or the thought that like Jimmy Garoppolo is this big beneficiary from dropped interceptions. What's the old saying, Jason? If you can't catch, you play DB. If you can, you play receiver. It's almost like secondary. It's easy to catch a football, I think. But there's a reason they're playing DB.
I put on a master.
Then again, we literally have video of you and I throwing a football together, and just
I put on a master class on how hard it is to catch that big ass NFL football.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But to really think like it is a Jimmy Garoppolo individual issue, every quarterback has it, man, and it happens that we watch Jimmy Garoppolo the most, so that's probably why it stands out the most. But if we're watching every play of every team like we do the Niners, it happens. It really does. It's okay. It's okay if Jimmy Garoppolo, you don't like Jimmy Garoppolo. It's okay to say that. It's just this narrative to bring him down when there's an opportunity is weird to me because – once again, without Jimmy Garoppolo, this season is wildly different.
Yes.
It absolutely is. We don't know what it would have been.
It's much harder and harder to jump on the Sprint Red Option podcast and talk about football if someone else is quarterbacking this team.
Exactly, too.
Not Trey Lance. Not Trey Lance. We're not talking about Trey Lance.
Exactly. Yeah, not Trey Lance. Obviously, we're taking Trey Lance out of this category.
No, not Trey Lance.
But Jimmy Garoppolo has really saved this from being another Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard season. And the Niners don't really have the capital to have those seasons, which is why it's important Garoppolo's here. So whatever you think of Garoppolo's performance, I think within context, it's fair because it wasn't his best, but it definitely wasn't his worst. You got to put a lot of how much he got beat up yesterday, things like that.
Andrew,
it was a Jimmy Garoppolo football game, and that's okay. He didn't throw a turnover. He didn't throw an interception. The Niners won. It's okay.
Andrew.
Yes.
He completed 70% of his passes. Andrew.
Pretty good.
If you just look at raw numbers, this is why there needs to be a balance between raw numbers and watching the games.
Yes.
But at the same time, I want to talk about something that I was encouraged with, even if the results weren't exactly what you wanted. Did Kyle Shanahan go for it on fucking 4th down?
That's something I didn't want to mention too much.
No. I want to mention it.
Yeah, we can mention it, but I'm still going to put it in the category of I'm sus about it still.
Andrew.
I'm happy he went for it. I am.
Everybody's good.
The play call, though.
Andrew.
Fourth and 1 out of the shotgun. I just hate that in general.
All right.
Go ahead.
You're on the 1. Stop running out of shotgun.
Yes.
I get that. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's the part that I have issue with.
Yes.
And don't blame Jimmy Garoppolo for that. Jimmy
tried to make something happen. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Wheels thought he could get it. Credit the Saints again. What I'm encouraged by is that seemed like something that Kyle would have never, ever even considered.
Opening drive too.
Yeah. I want to see that a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
Yep.
If that play gets converted, everyone loves it. If it doesn't, then we are where we are. It's just the nature of fourth down. That's why it's such a tough decision. I'm happy that Kyle's at least understanding that, you know what? We're on the one. If this gets stopped, my defense can stop them.
There it is.
So I like that. I like that.
Yes.
I don't like the play call.
Don't like the play call. Hate the play call.
You need a yard, and you're throwing it back 3 more yards to get a yard.
That's not even Shanahan. That's not even a Shanahan thing. I just hate it anytime there's a 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, teams come out and shot.
And hold up. And
it makes no sense.
And Andrew, you've got the most elite QB sneaker.
That's I hate it. I'm gonna get angry. I'm gonna get so angry about it.
Well, we have to talk about it because I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yes. It's a give and take. I'm happy that they went for 2 4th downs, which I guess within itself is an issue because that feels like a very low bar. Because like there's coaches out there like Dan Campbell who like if they don't attempt 4 4th downs in a game, they're gonna like combust or something. Dan Campbell's addicted to going for it on 4th downs. But
I love it.
I love it. I love Dan Campbell. Where's Don Burr when we need him? We're talking Dan Campbell here on this podcast.
Where's Don Burr?
But yeah, I am very happy that they went for
the Rams can't give the 49ers a reality check. So, you know, I hope you're a Dolphins fan now. Like, so you should just go over there because they're actually good. The Rams aren't.
Yes. We love Jim Everett though. We established
No. Keep sticking around. Like you're
sticking around. We love you.
Your success in this season is now tied to some sort of 49ers failure. So don't
Axel also says Brandon Staley also addicted.
Brandon Staley big dick and won. And what happened?
Brandon Staley also addicted to going for Dan Campbell also. There's a lot of I actually think the Cardinals have lead the league in going for it on 4th downs this year as well. So I guess Cliff Kingsbury addicted to 4th downs.
Are we all tuning into Wednesday's Hard Knocks after Kyler Murray said, quote unquote, our offensive scheme was fucked?
Dude, I saw a video of that. We're completely off the rails right now. I love
it's
this
fine.
Niners won. We talked about the important things.
It's Victory Monday. We do what we want.
It's honestly after the defense conversation ended with the conversation. It's all filler at this point.
And we haven't even gotten into the Miami Dolphins and the shit they've been popping.
Yes, but I don't even remember what we're talking about now. We're talking about
Kyler Murray saying,
there's no way the Cardinals can fire Cliff Kingsbury in season because I don't think they want to put that on HBO. Personally, I think the only thing saving Kingsbury's job right now is HBO.
The Cardinals should fire all 3 Ks, Kime, Cliff, and Kyler somehow, but they're not going to be able to do it, all 3 of them. Yeah, whatever. Look, the 4th down thing, more than anything, I love the decision, hate the play call. That's something that I think is the give and take in this. Yes. You can love what Kyle did. I was yelling at the TV, go for it.
Yes.
But, if you need a yard, come on, man. Don't overthink it. You have the best quarterback sneaker. And you know what? If you don't get it, you're still in that one spot. But don't make Jimmy, after you've been watching your offensive line get its ass whipped this entire first half, drop back and roll out and make him make something happen. Like, push. Like, well, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's why he didn't want to run the QB sneak.
Maybe.
Because the offensive line wasn't getting pushed.
Maybe. That could be the case too. I don't know. I still hate coming out of shotgun. That's like still my thing.
I hate that as well.
Jason, dude, let's get the 3 stars going. Let's do 3 stars. We're at 45 minutes. I as much as I want to just do DeMeco Ryans 3 times here, I probably will not. Right. I'll go Jawan Jennings. Jawan Jennings had his best game of the season. I don't have his numbers up right now because I closed the box score for some reason.
He had 4 catches. He had 4 catches in that one drive that ended with the touchdown.
And he had 6 catches on the game for 49 yards and a touchdown. The drive where he had the 3 catches, it was like 15, 13, 12, and then the 5-yard being the touchdown. He's just what are they calling it now? 3rd and 1. That's his
like
Jawan. 3rd and Jawan. I like it. I like these corny. I like these corny nicknames are given out. Himmy G, 3rd and Jawan. Like I'm into it. But he's been a security blanket. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mitch Himnowski.
Mitch. Okay. Jason, who's your 3rd star?
I love that I threw you off. All right, my third star. You said Juwan Jennings, right?
Yes, I got Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My third star is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo, and it's because he continuously gets up, says the right things, is a complete professional, executes this offense. Where would the season be if Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't here? And that's a little bit of egg on my face because I yelled and yelled and yelled. Yeah, and yelled.
My
and yelled
face
about,
too. This podcast took a break from talking about Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right. Yelled and yelled about like just cut him and just move on, but where would the season be if Brock Purdy or Nate Sudfeld was here? Jimmy Garoppolo, third star, man. You take a licking and you keep on ticking. If I could channel my dad's old ass energy. He got hit a bunch of times, man, and he never complained and he kept playing and he kept going. I think we need to throw out the Jimmy isn't tough narrative. Jimmy Garoppolo, third star. I don't care what anybody says. Stats don't tell the story of what he was able to do for the 49ers in this one. You had to watch the game. Some would say you had to be there.
Absolutely. Jimmy Garoppolo, as the kids are calling him nowadays. When I say kids, I mean the 49ers. My second star, it's going to be just a lot. It's Talanoa Hufanga. It's Fred Warner. It's Nick Bosa. It's Dre Greenlaw. All four of them, I'm just throwing them all in one because I only get 3 stars.
Come on, man. We only have 3 stars, and it was a game that was played in a certain way, and you literally just took like almost everybody else I could.
They all made plays that impacted the game, changed the game. I'm sure you're going to have a more in-depth thought to it, Jason. But the Bosa sack, the Hufanga fumble, the Warner fumble, Greenlaw making the Hufanga fumble happen. I want to throw them all in as my second star.
Fine.
You could take whoever you want still. There's never been a rule of reusing. We literally made a whole bit of going 3-2-1 Deebo Samuel last year.
You got it. Trent Williams is my second star. And nobody's talking about him because nobody ever talks about Trent Williams. Nobody ever gives the man. It's like set your watch to him just being dominant and nobody ever says anything ever again about it. And it's like the only time that you discuss Trent Williams is when you feel that he gave up a sack or you feel that he's getting beat, which is very rare. Trent Williams is still, and shout out to Brad Graham, the best player in football. Oh, yeah, that's it. Let's just go. Let's just ride out now. Let's just completely go off let's go off now at this point. Trent Williams is the best player in football, man, and he is the biggest difference maker for this team, man. And I don't know where they would be without it. I mean, they got him for the small price of a third round pick?
Something like that, yeah. Just casually replace Joe Staley with Trent Williams. Something that
casually replace a Hall of Famer with the best that has ever played
the position. Yeah, exactly. I think that's something that gets forgotten about the Trent Williams move is they literally replace the Hall of Famer with a Hall of Famer.
It's literally like going from, I don't know, what's a good baseball term, right? Like somebody who's been a Hall of Famer, right? You're going from Bumgarner.
It's like I got it. It's like going from Derek Jeter to Didi Gregorius.
No, that's not it. That's absolutely not it. And anyway,
is he the one who took Jeter's spot? Right?
Yeah, he is. But move on to your first spot, your first star. And Andrew Pasquini. This is his last time on the show. Like Andrew Pasquini is being replaced now at this point.
It's like Aaron Judge being replaced with Mitch Haniger.
There you go. Whatever it is that the Giants.
That's what Giants fans are gonna have to do.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna be Mitch Haniger. It's okay though. Yeah. My number one star is DeMeco Ryans.
Damn it! All right, so we'll do it again.
Oh wait, okay, sorry. Jason Aponte on 3. Who's your number one star? 1, 2, 3.
DeMeco Ryans.
I'll let you talk because you're passionate. You're passionate about DeMeco Ryans.
No, oh my goodness, man. It's his second year. Yes. He is literally still at a point where he's still figuring things out. Sure, you can look at the talent that he has in front of him. It's all world. Credit this front office for building this roster. Credit that. But all of that doesn't matter if you don't know how to use it. And DeMeco is so good week to week, understanding the matchups in front of him, what his personnel can do, how to put them in advantageous situations. DeMeco Ryans, here we go. This is the one, and I'll pass it to you, Andrew. I'm going to end on this. DeMeco Ryans is the best coach on his staff of anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody right now.
Yep.
Go, Andrew.
I just think the numbers in itself tell the story. I just like I've never thought about the stat of how many points you hold the defense or hold an offense to in the second half until this streak started. And just the idea of, I mean, you put it, that's 2 games worth of quarters that DeMeco Ryans has held teams without a point. And they're all, I mean, obviously save the Cardinal game 38-10. They've all been in situations where they've needed it. The Rams game was tight at halftime. The Chargers game was tight at halftime. This game was tight at halftime. And DeMeco Ryans just every week, he seems to call the right play in the right situation. And I feel like, in my opinion, that's harder to do on the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side. That's just me. I don't know how true it is. It's just what it feels. But what DeMeco Ryans has been doing, yeah, man, I'm gonna miss him when he's the head coach of the Cardinals next year or whatever team he ends up going
no!
to.
Don't even
I threw that one out. I want to throw that one out.
Announce the super chat. Go.
Jay Aguayo, thank you. Himmy Guap plays tough. No wonder team has his back. Definitely, absolutely.
Here's a question from CL. Is Ryans better than what Salah is? Yes.
And CL, I've never seen your name before. This isn't recency bias. This is something Jason and I have kind of been teasing for give or take a year now. This isn't anything new. It's just every week they keep getting better. And you think, okay, how are they going to do better? How are they going to do better than holding the Cardinals to 10 points on Monday night in Mexico? Oh, they're just going to shut out the Saints. So now the question is, like, how do they improve on this? I don't know if there's a way to improve against an offense like the Miami Dolphins, Jason, but let's find out. Let's see if maybe there's a way to improve off of this. So that's it. Niners win 13-0.
This is the one right here.
JM, thank you. LMAO. Remember when this fan base was calling for DeMeco's job? Now they want us to go. Yeah. I mean,
every first drive, this 49ers fan base tweeted, DeMeco's not ready. DeMeco's.
It's almost like scripted plays work.
And it's almost like
weird.
There's 60 minutes in a game, and there's one guy on one side who has a script, and there's the other guy who kind of just takes notes and then makes adjustments.
Yeah.
That's DeMeco, man.
No.
Come on, man.
No.
Like, I love Kyle. We only chance. That's Kyle's over 500. This team is
whoa. He is 2 games over 500 now.
Yes.
We got to say that, just not over 500, 2 games.
I love Kyle. This culture that he's built, everybody believes in each other. Kyle has a lot to do with that. Kyle built this roster as well, too, offensive and defensively. Helped, right?
Mm-hmm.
But DeMeco right now, what he's doing coaching-wise is the best, man. He's doing the best job that I've seen here. That's it. I'm sorry. I love you, Kyle. I know you watch. I know you take notes on the sprint right option, but
that's why he went for 4th downs.
DeMeco's cooking right now, man.
DeMeco is absolutely cookies. Yeah. Let's do some housekeeping before we move forward to the Dolphins a little bit. We'll touch on some of that stuff.
You want to do that?
Let's touch on the housekeeping. The news that came out about 2 hours ago regarding Elijah Mitchell. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a knee injury. It's a bummer because he is a good running back. He is a very good running back for this offense. Just can't seem to stay healthy, which is unfortunate. If all things are perfect, maybe NFC Championship.
It's in the other
game.
knee too.
Yeah. So it's a tough loss. I see it. There's people talking about the Jeff Wilson trade now. Jordan Mason looked really good yesterday, and that's something we didn't really touch on, and we won't touch on it too. We'll talk about it more on Friday because I want this to be more about Elijah Mitchell. It's a tough loss for this offense because he was really clicking and ended up he was the running back one over Christian McCaffrey in terms of carries. So it's a tough loss. So Jason, real quick, Elijah Mitchell before we jump on about the Dolphins.
Tony Montana says, "You really think Kyle spends time watching this?" Yes.
Tony.
I think Kyle after he goes through his game plan. I think after he goes through his game plan and everything, and he goes, like, you know what? I gotta tune into the Sprint Right Option podcast, man. And I do believe that.
I've actually heard sources, very close sources to me, that Kyle Shanahan has an alarm set 5:10.
Yes,
every Monday and Friday. Sprint Right Option podcast. He gets a 5-minute warning. That one waiting I see, it's always Kyle Shanahan.
It's always Kyle, and Kyle doesn't sleep, anything like that. He doesn't sleep at all, right? But if he's not sleeping, then what's he doing? Like, you can only game plan for a certain amount of time. He lets other guys go get some sleep. What you gonna do to unwind? You pull up to the Sprint Right Option podcast.
I like to imagine that every morning Kyle Shanahan walks up to John Lynch and shows him my
and he's just
says,
like,
can today be the day we signed him?
Well, Squeeney's been wearing the 3 hat, man, and I mean, we got to keep this thing going, man. I really, I really enjoy.
Kyle, just offer me my contract in the comments section one day. Just randomly, Kyle Shanahan, 1 year, $10. I'll take it. Jason, the Dolphins game is coming up on Sunday. We already had it circled as a big Hoomst revenge game. But then things were said, and
Hold on. Whose revenge game is it?
It's a lot.
No.
There's a lot.
There's a name you're missing.
Okay, so there's Mike McDaniel, there's Raheem Mostert,
nope.
There's Jeff Wilson.
He's not. You know what? The person that's revenge game it is not going to be involved in this game.
Whose revenge game is this? Am I forgetting somebody?
You are.
Okay.
You're forgetting the most important one. It's Brian Allen sitting in his couch and saying, let's go 49ers, go fry their asses and go get my lick back. Is Brian Allen's revenge game.
Is that how you wanted to mention Janoris Jenkins was signed today?
Jackrabbit? I mean, you on the thumb.
Yeah, he's on my shirt in the picture, so I guess I'm the Janoris Jenkins guy in the podcast.
If you guys noticed the thumbnail, so first of all, shout out to Kyle Breakwitz, who does our thumbnails. He did the thumbnail for this, and my shirt has Jimmy Jesus, Jimmy yes. with the as Jesus, and Andrews has Janoris Jenkins.
I just got Janoris Jenkins.
Practice squad.
Yes,
he was just signed to the practice squad. 36-year-old cornerback, and he's good depth. I like that. It doesn't mean, guys. Let me, if I can slow everybody down. Nobody's injured. Nothing happened. They have a practice squad spot open because they cannot continue to elevate T.Y. McGill. Mm-hmm. Now that's it. He's on the roster. So like you can't keep elevating him. So they had a practice squad open, a spot open. So yeah. Mm-hmm. It's Brian Allen's revenge game. He wants the 49ers to fry them. Mm-hmm. Also, if I could paint a narrative, there's a lot of people, or the streets are saying, Andrew.
Okay.
Jimmy Garoppolo's worst regular season game as a San Francisco 49er was at the hands of the Miami Dolphins.
I remember that, yes.
Whose revenge game is it? It is James Richard Garoppolo's revenge game because he does not like how that happened. And I'm just like making this out of nowhere, but yeah. It's Brian Allen and James Richard Garoppolo's revenge game. Well, Brian Allen is going to be on the couch like kick their ass, and Jimmy's going to go out there and do it.
Well, extra motivation for Jimmy Garoppolo because allegedly the Dolphins have a quarterback who can, quote, actually sling it.
All right, talk about it.
Okay, so Raheem Mostert knows what he's doing, I think.
Okay.
Because he never once said Jimmy Garoppolo's name in that article or nothing, but the quote of two is a quarterback who can actually sling it. He can protect himself by saying, I didn't say Jimmy's name, but I think we know who he maybe is talking about. And I think with like the response from like Deebo Samuel, and I know a few Niner players tweeted a few things. Charles Omenihu. I don't want to talk about Charles Omenyhu's Twitter right now. Did you see his other tweet from today?
No.
He was wishing former teammate Deshaun Watson good luck Sunday, which I feel like that should probably. I feel like it should be a text, not a tweet. But anyways, yeah, Deebo Samuel had issues, so maybe there is a little behind it. I'm gonna just play naive and say, you know what, Mostert just said it, not thinking, not knowing that's what he meant. I'm just gonna have fun with that and say what it is, but we'll see what it is on Sunday. We'll absolutely see what it is on Sunday because this game feels like it has a little more heat behind it than what a Week 13 AFC East versus NFC West game should be.
Allow me to give you my perspective on this. What Raheem Mostert said about the 49ers to rush him back can be an evergreen tweet for 31 other franchises that rush people back.
Yeah.
This is a results-driven business, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches, GMs, their livelihood depends on wins. How does that happen? When you have your best guys out there.
Yep.
Also, I do not fault Raheem Mostert at all for prioritizing his own health over that. You know why? Because when this league don't love you back and they chew you up and spit you out, you get cut and you have to deal with those injuries later on. So I have no problem with that. Two things I have a problem with what Raheem Mostert said. Jeff Wilson also was in this interview and literally was politically correct in every single way. Almost feels like he understood exactly what it meant to say all these things, right? Two things with Mostert. You have more talent here in Miami. Well, I want to push back on that. Kittle clears Gesicki. I think, please don't kill me, guys. Hill and Waddle are better than Ayuk and Samuel.
They would only kill you for being right, and that's okay.
Well, if look, I'm a 49ers fan. I just want to make sure I have that out there.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey clears Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, and if you need any other proof, Jeff Wilson was traded because Christian McCaffrey pulled up. So he's better. The offensive line's better. The Tua and Jimmy thing, that's where I really, 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 really have a problem with. Here's my problem. Raheem, you are too smart to say something to the fact that the question that was asked, because I read the article, the question that was asked was, what is the difference between this offense and what's going on? And you said the quarterback can actually
Yes, that's the word here. Actually.
That's it. That's
all
it. And you know what, Raheem? You probably didn't mean it that way.
Yes.
You're a nice guy. You probably did. But what I blame you for is this. You should know better. And you knew that was going to be taken and put and blown up in that way. So you allowed that quote to be open for interpretation. Dolphins fans, I hope you're here. I hope you guys crowd in because I want to tell you an inconvenient truth. Tua Tagovailoa and Jimmy Garoppolo are asked to do the same exact things. They are facilitators. They are point guards who throw the ball to their playmakers and allow them to make plays.
Yep.
Is Jimmy Garoppolo better than Tua? You could make the argument that Tua is better. I probably won't disagree with you. Only because we haven't seen the ceiling of Tua.
Yes.
We've seen the ceiling of Jimmy Garoppolo. We know what that looks like. My problem is actually sling it feels like a slight at the guy who is asked to do the same things that Tua is doing, albeit at a better level. But I want to point out this. Everyone wants to scream about scheme. Scheme is 65% of it. 35% of it is your personnel that's allowed to execute that. Not everybody has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle running wide open by themselves.
Oh, the Dolphins season looks wildly different if Tyreek goes to the Jets.
So here's my thing. For you, Raheem, to say he can actually sling it when you've been in both the same offense, it's literally the reason that you're in Miami. How could you not understand that would be taken as a shot? For Dolphins fans, if you're here, come close, real close. Jimmy is exactly doing what Tua's asked to be doing. And when I say that stylistically, they're the same quarterback, don't push back. Don't get mad. Tua's not better than Herbert. Tua's not better than any of those guys. Do not throw any of those bullshit fucking metrics that you throw out at me. I can watch the game with my own eyes. Tua is asked to do the same exact things that James Richard Garoppolo is asked to do, albeit he's doing it at a bit of a better level, but they're asked to do the same things. Tua is not a difference maker like you think he is. He is not better than Justin Herbert. Stop it. Emmanuel Ocho, stop it. Everybody stop it. Everyone stop it. What gets me more mad is People don't understand that when I say Tua and Jimmy are stylistically the same sort of quarterback, people don't like to hear that shit. But they are. They're asked to do the same exact things. Andrew, you could talk now.
Well, what's even funnier too is not even just stylistically, but the conversation around them too, because we saw it yesterday, Jimmy's win-loss record compared to Joe Montana and Steve Young on the broadcast. Dolphin fans are doing it with 202 because you notice how they keep saying, well, Dolphins haven't lost and Tua's there. They have the win-loss conversation as well with their quarterback. It's kind of funny, all these parallel between the two. There's a lot of parallel between these two teams. And like, even too, I wanted to make the point. Kyle, I love it. I love it. Why is Jimmy Jesus on your shirt? I like how
because
Kyle
I'm debating Tua and Jimmy, and I'm taking the Jimmy side of this. Keep going.
But even too, the tweet with the article, like, I'm very curious if the tweet and the article, if they're separated, because the tweet from Tyler Dunn, the guy who wrote the article, before he went in the quotes, he said, Dolphins 49ers next week will be a humdinker. I chatted with Mostert and Wilson, and they didn't hold back on their new opportunity. And I just feel like if you isolate the quotes from that tweet, I think the article reads a little differently. The tweet was definitely angled to make it sound like a shot when, like, it is. It's a thinly veiled shot, but I don't think it comes out as obvious if the tweet doesn't automatically relate it to the game coming up on Sunday, because this article came out before the Dolphins even started yesterday. So it was interesting timing. I think there's a lot of heat between these two teams for a lot of reasons. I don't think an article was needed to make it hotter, I guess. But
wait, what was that first word?
Heatier.
What do you mean by
heatier.
That? No, the first word. What do you mean by that?
What was it? Warmer? What did I say?
Meteor?
I don't even remember. Meteor. Yeah, like meteor. Like it's more meat. There's more meat to the game now. I don't know. I don't know, man.
What do you mean by that?
We're at hour 6. We're past the hour mark.
Look, we're having fun right now. Andrew.
Yeah, we're having fun. But it's going to be an interesting week because this game was circled early on with the Mike McDaniel hiring. Obviously, then
this game is
went on. Yeah, this game is definitely circled. So it'll be a very chippy game in December for the 49ers. Very important for both teams. And we'll obviously preview it come Friday because that's what we do here on the Sprint Right Option podcast. Hey, Jason, I'd be amiss if I did not mention about a football game that happened on Saturday. Jim Harbaugh owning the Ohio State University once again, cooking Ohio State. So shout out Niner legend Jim Harbaugh for doing that once again.
My brother Robert Aponte is punching air somewhere in Arizona right now as he is an OSU graduate.
Don't care, man.
Literally hates
OSU graduate, but he's a Niner fan, right?
No. OSU graduate, New York Giants fan, doesn't really care about the NFL. Doesn't care about the NFL. More cares about that. Literally hates the Michigan Wolverines with every fiber in him. And I should text him and say, "Hey, pal, are you okay?"
Yeah, no, you should definitely text him, ask him if he's okay. I think the fun thing about it is there's definitely conversation at halftime because there's talk going into it of like, well, if it's a close game, there's talk to be made that like maybe both make the college football playoff, and they were even talking about it at halftime, and it was beautiful. It was like, yeah, man, both these teams are competitive, both might make the playoff, and then Michigan destroyed them in the second half, and Ohio State's playoff hopes are dead.
Kyle Shanahan could never
take Michigan to what level Michigan's at now. That's what I'm saying too. Jason, I think that's it. We're talking Michigan football here on the Sprint Right Option podcast. I think that's it. I think that's a good episode of the podcast, episode 152. Now I'm back in my house, not in my bedroom. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No. Look, guys, this isn't college football. You don't get points for style. The 49ers won.
Yeah, and they don't ask how, they ask how many.
Right, and they found a way to win, and I think that's more important than the way you won. And it's okay for 49er fans to say, the New Orleans Saints played well. They played their ass off. They played like their season was on the line. They knew it was in front of them. The Tampa Bay Bucks literally lost right before they played, and they had a chance to take the division lead with a win.
Just
like the Saints were ready to go. It's okay. The Saints played well.
How ready
This
can you
should
be? How ready can you be to go when Jameis Winston's not your starting quarterback?
I mean, cook their asses, Pasquini, because Andrew Dalton put up a donut. Jameis Winston would have never done that. But it's more about this is the type of game you probably should expect later on when the opponents get tougher in the playoffs. And don't tell me about how many points you need a team to win. You need a team to have to win. You just need to have more than the opponent. That's
Literally just need to have more than the opponent. That counts as a win. It could have been 3-0. Podcast probably would have been the same. Maybe a little more talk about the offense, but enough defense talk. But anyways, Jason, we'll be back on Friday to talk Niners Dolphins, what might be the biggest game of the season for social media aspects. We'll have fun with it, guys. Let's keep it calm throughout the week because I'm sure.
Oh no. Dolphin fans are descending upon you, 49ers fans. Don't you dare think that you're going to be out here sending anti-Dolphins tweets.
I'll be in the building. I'll be defending.
Let's go. Pasquini's going to go 1-0, and that's how you know they're going to win.
I'm bringing a Dolphins fan with me though, so it makes me a little hypocritical, but that's okay. That's okay.
You start on the East Coast when you go to a Yankee game and you show up with somebody else, you get up and you start asshole. No, that's just
I thought you were gonna make a roll call joke, and I was gonna be like, yeah, man, I'm really excited to go to Yankee Stadium on March 31st and start the roll call for Giants right center fielder Aaron Judge. Like,
hey, fans will do. If you do that, I mean, because you will be here. If you do that, I will walk away from you because I don't think that's going to end well.
I need to learn. I need to learn what's the Aaron Judge roll call?
No. Andrew Pasquini, as always.
Aaron Judge. I think that's
Andrew Pasquini, as always.
He'll tip his Giants cap to me, Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.
What a fun episode.
What a great episode, huh?
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.